So to awaken it, you need your starter, obviously, it's the subject. You need an equivalent weight of white flour, although this is wholemeal, so I'll get the white flour. A jar to do it in. You can do it in the same jar, but it's supposed to be about double, so maybe I'll just reuse this jar. I'm feeling lazy. No, actually I won't, because I need to put a lot more stuff in this jar and then double. And an equivalent weight of water. So you want the ratio to be the starter a third, flour a third, water a third. So there we have, I've put starter into there. So 120 grams is the magic number for starter. Then you add a similar amount of water. It's best to add the water first, because then you'll mix it up into more of a kind of a liquid which mixes with the flour better. That's 240. Boom. And mix that up. Chopsticks is best, but I can't just buy chopsticks, so just use a knife quite a lot of the time. Now that's now the flour, that's now the water and the starter mixed up. Kind of looks like a little bit of a milky consistency. It's probably still a few lumps, but it doesn't really matter. And then you add 120 grams of white flour. So it's added on the top. I'll just mix it in. So now mixed in, it's about the consistency of maybe a thick Greek yogurt. You want to kind of push it down the sides of the jar. So you can then see where it's up to on the jar. Make a little line and you just put that to one side in a warm place for as long as it takes to grow by at least 50%. So it basically will depend on how warm your day is. So it's now 9 o'clock on a, I don't know, it's probably about 17, 18 degrees here. And we'll get up to 21 today. So we'll put it on one side, see how we go. Okay, so it's grown handsomely at coming up to 21 degrees. So now time for the fun bit. You'll see it's approximately doubled. And when you look inside, you can see it's bubbly and it's still growing because it's bulging up it's bulging up from the edges. So that's perfect. So now the fun bit, you need scales, your starter, salt, water. The other jug is in the dishwasher, that's where I've got the crazy one, and then white and wholemeal flour. I'll share the exact amounts separately because I need to check them now. You do need to take 30 grams of the starter out to be your next starter, so you just like spoon it out and measure it there. So just try and do it one-handed. Okay, so bad video, so you just need 30 and put that on one side. Then I'll add the water to the starter. As I said, if you mix it with the starter before you put it in with the flour, it's just a bit easier. You make a kind of slurry. So you measure out how much water. Do it in the same jar, make it easy too. So that's 117. Just top it up to 120. 128, right. Then you mix that in. So you just pour that in. So again, it's like I guess slurry is not a pretty word, but probably an accurate word. Put the rest of the water in because there's still some starter in there, it's still stuck to the side, so rather than waste it. I know how much water to add. Put the remainder of the water in. Oops, that's too much water. Pour some off. Yeah, it's about the right amount of water. Mix that up. So I might have slightly diluted it there. I mean, too bad. You mix that up and then put it in there. So pouring in the rest of the water starter mix. There's not much left in there now. And then you mix it up with the big spoon. Keep mixing, keep mixing. You'll find that the flour sticks to the bowl, so you want to kind of fold it in. And what you get is what is known as a shaggy mass. You'll see why in a minute. Try and mix it pretty thoroughly. So there you have it. It's probably a little less shaggy than it would normally be. Maybe I put in too much water or not enough flour or something, but that's approximately what you need. And then you put it on one side for 15 minutes for the gluten bonds to actually start connecting. And then I'll show you a little trick to speed that up. Put it on one side, put a tea cloth over it, stop flies getting in. While you're doing that, you basically take this 30 grams of starter, put on one side, and you need to make it to put back into the fridge. So you put this 30 grams of starter in there, you add in, I'd say probably 35 grams of water, and then 55 grams of flour, and you mix it all up. So I'll do that now and then show you what it looks like. So that looks something like that. And then, so this is your starter for next time. Put the lid on and put it back in the fridge. Yeah, my starter lasts at least comfortably for 2 weeks, and it's lasted for as long as 4. You then do have to revive it though. So that's for next time. Okay, so 15 minutes is up. This is what it looks like. What you want to do next is basically fold it over to try and strengthen the gluten bonds between the gluten molecules. So you need very, very, very wet hands. So I'm going to try and do it one-handed. Make your hand very wet, otherwise it will stick to the dough. You basically just keep folding it over like that. So folding over the outside into the inside. And you can see it's starting to get like a smoother consistency. It's a little bit difficult to do it one-handed. You carry on doing that, turning. You don't need to do it for very long. And I generally, and we'll do this at least one more time. And what you want to do is keep turning until you can see it tearing as you turn. So it's still generally, you can see it's still quite smooth there, like there, still quite smooth. So I take that to assume, scientifically or not, that the gluten molecules are still aligning themselves with one another and connecting. But then you'll see after a while, it does start to tear. So it is very difficult to do it one-handed, it turns out. So now it's just starting to tear. You can see it's no longer smooth. So then I would probably stop now, leave it for another 15 minutes. Okay, second 15 minutes is up, so just do this again. It's any easier to do one-handed this time, so very wet hand. So just turn it over, and you get feeling much more silky now, much smoother, and you see it just seems like a lot smoother. So it's an amazing transformation from a shaggy mass into quite smooth dough, just as the gluten molecules bond together. You see it's very smooth now, it stretches a lot more without tearing. There's another way of doing this where you pick it up and you basically let it sag between your fingers, but I found this way just a lot easier and a lot more fun to do, frankly. So you just keep turning the bowl, keep turning it to stretch it until it starts to tear. Yes, it's probably starting to tear now. And again, you're just folding the outside across. So yeah, so it's definitely tearing now. It's tearing a lot now. So I reckon we are probably done. Okay, so turn it upside down and leave it to rest. Or actually leave it to for the first bulk ferment, I think it is called, with a tea towel over it. And depending on the temperature, depends on how long you're doing it. So we're actually going out now, it's just at 21 degrees. I'll leave it and see how it goes. If you want it to go fast, you can warm it up. I've got a little device to do that. Some microwaves do it, otherwise put it in a warm cupboard or something. Okay, so now it is about 8 hours later. It's risen nicely. It's probably more than doubled, which is possibly even risen more than it's supposed to. It's been at around 21, 22 for all that time, so it's time now to basically give it another knead and put it in the fridge for the second rise. So here you need a breadboard, lots of flour, so you don't use water this time, use flour to stop it sticking to the board into your hands, and then have some greaseproof paper in either like a Bannard thing or just a round bowl. Doesn't make much difference. This allows it to be a long loaf as opposed to a round loaf. I don't know how easy it's going to be to do it with one hand, but you basically just pull this out. I'm not going to be able to do it with one hand, so I'm just going to pull it out, put it on the board, show you what to do. Yeah, it's come out fairly cleanly, and now you basically kind of keep folding it over again. Lots of dough, otherwise it will stick to the board. Just keep folding it over, and it's now nice and elastic. Feels very kind of alive, got bounce to it. It's got you can feel it's kind of got air in there, and it's quite punchy. And then you have flour. Keep folding it over. You basically want to create. It's nice to trap bits of air in, and then you want to create surface tension on the outside that'll keep it in a good shape when it's cooking. Okay, so that's probably fine. And then a little bit of a trick is kind of pull it, just do like this, pull it towards you. And you can just feel it, when you do that again. And just feel it creating surface tension. Yeah, it's splitting slightly, so maybe a bit too much. And then just put it in there and put it in the fridge for a few hours or overnight, and hopefully it will rise while we do that. Okay, so now we are ready to bake the bread. So put the oven on at maximum, it's nearly there. It's good to actually have some steam in the oven. So the way that I do that is I basically heat up like a metal bread tin. So that's now something like 250 degrees centigrade. Pour in some boiling water. And then pop that back in the oven just before I put the bread in. And the idea of steam is that it transfers heat more directly to the bread, because you want the bread to cook very, very quickly as soon as you put it in. Here's the loaf. It's been in the fridge overnight, probably about 11 hours, quite a long time. It's risen quite nicely. It's dried out slightly. That doesn't really seem to make much difference. You can sprinkle it with some flour, which makes it look pretty, or at the moment I'm basically putting some seeds on it. So the way to do that is just with a pastry brush, just dampen the surface of the bread slightly, make the seeds stick, and then sprinkling on some sesame seeds, which just give it a little bit of colour and a little bit of extra flavour. Let's go quite generously. And then also putting on some nigella seeds, which are really nice, give it a real exotic flavour. Nigella seeds. Really like these, so err on the generous side. You'll see it relaxing slightly as it comes out. And then just cut it with the scissors. cut it so it makes an odd number of segments, if you like. And you can play with this. At the moment I'm kind of going for a long loaf, so I basically just cut it into 3. Like that. So that is now, you cut it really through, cut it almost in half. That is now ready to put in the oven. So I'm not sure I'm going to try and do that with one hand, but I can put that straight into the oven at 275 degrees with some boiling water in there too. So let's put that in. Goes in for 25 minutes, after which we remove the water and lower the temperature to about 220 and put it in for another 15 minutes. Now in the oven. So we're 25 minutes in, time to take the water out. And they are coming along very nicely. Basically turn it down to about 220. Maybe give it a spin, because my oven is quite uneven. There's a little bit of hot air out, but that's coming on very nicely. It might be a little bit burnt, but that is no problem at all. All right, so and then we give it another 15 minutes. So here we are, 40 minutes in, the moment of truth. First of all, turn the oven off, or you might forget. And it's good to have a cooling rack for your bread to cool on. And let's see how we go. There you go, nice and brown. Don't worry, it might look a bit burnt, but it won't taste burnt. You want it quite dark, and you see the seeds are toasted quite nicely too. All right, we'll take it out, put it on the cooling rack, and importantly, you can't slice it for an hour. It has to cool down before you can do that, otherwise it'll mess it up. So here we are, the moment of truth. I have to say, any similarity to a guinea pig or rodent is entirely unintended. Got these nice little ears here, a little bit crispy crust. So I'll cut into it and enjoy. So there you go, nice crunchy crust, and lots good lift and lots of nice air holes. So that should be a good loaf of bread. I hope good luck with yours. Let me know how you go. One last thing, best way to store it is not in a bread bin, but outside in your kitchen, standing on the cut side to keep it fresh. And particularly in the summer, I find bread bins make it go mouldy faster. This should generally last almost a week in Sydney at the moment.